Every morning in a small apartment in Oslo, a German shepherd named Freya does something her family used to find annoying. She positions herself directly in the doorway between the kitchen and the living room, right where their toddler plays. She won't move, not for treats, not for toys, just stands there like a furry roadblock, eyes fixed on the child. For weeks they thought she was being stubborn. Then one afternoon, they realized something. Every single time Freya blocked that doorway, the toddler was heading toward the steep staircase just beyond. She wasn't being difficult. She was running a security operation they never asked for but desperately needed. Your dog isn't just lying across doorways because they want attention. They're not following you to the bathroom because they're needy. And they're definitely not sleeping at the foot of your bed by accident. These behaviors look random. They look like quirks, or clinginess, or simple habit. But they're not. They're ancient survival protocols written into your dog's DNA thousands of years ago, when their wolf ancestors had to protect the pack or watch everyone die. Your dog carries that same code. And every single day, they're running an invisible security system around you that you never notice. Until you know what to look for. When your dog plants themselves in a doorway and refuses to move, most people see an obstacle. You're trying to walk through with groceries or laundry, and there's your dog, taking up the entire space like they own it. You step around them, you ask them to move. Sometimes you get frustrated, but watch where they position themselves. It's never random. They place their body between you and the entrance to your home, between you and the windows, between you and any opening where something could enter. Behaviorists call this territorial threshold guarding. And it goes back to when wolves would station themselves at den entrances to protect vulnerable pack members inside. Your dog is creating a physical barrier between you and the outside world. They're saying with their entire body that anything wanting to reach you has to go through them first. It's one of the purest forms of protection in the animal kingdom. No aggression, no warning, just presence, just their body as a shield. And they do it so consistently that you stop noticing it's even happening. But it's happening every single day. In Norwegian homes and apartments all across Oslo and Bergen, dogs are standing guard in doorways while their humans walk past completely unaware that they're being protected. Then there's the bathroom thing. The behavior that makes visitors laugh and makes you feel like you have no privacy. Your dog follows you into the bathroom. Every single time, they sit there and stare at you. They press their nose against the shower curtain. They paw at the door if you dare to close it. And you think they're just attached, or needy, or maybe a little weird. But here's what's really happening. Your dog knows that when you're in the bathroom, you're vulnerable. You're distracted. You're in a small, enclosed space. Your hearing is compromised by running water. Your mobility is limited. In wolf packs, members protect each other during vulnerable activities. Eating, sleeping, eliminating waste. These are the moments when predators attack. These are the moments when you need someone watching your back. Your dog's ancestors survived because they understood this, and your dog carries that same instinct. When you're in the bathroom, they're not being clingy. They're on duty. They're maintaining visual contact with you and auditory contact with everything outside that door. They're making sure nothing approaches while you're defenseless. It's protection disguised as annoying behavior. And it's happening because your dog loves you enough to guard you at your most vulnerable. Watch where your dog sleeps. Not just that they sleep near you, but how they position themselves. Most dogs don't curl up randomly. They sleep facing the door. They position themselves between you and the windows. If they sleep at the foot of your bed, they're almost always facing outward, toward the room, rather than toward you. This isn't comfort. This is strategy. Your dog is taking the guard position, the position that allows them the quickest response time if something enters your space while you're unconscious and helpless. Research shows that dogs maintain lighter sleep cycles than humans when sleeping near their owners. They're not fully resting, they're monitoring. Every sound, every shift in air pressure, every change in the environment. You get to sleep deeply because they're doing the work of constant vigilance. In the mountains outside Tromsø, sled dogs have been doing this for centuries, sleeping around their mushers not for warmth alone, but for mutual protection. Your house dog carries that same blueprint, that same willingness to sacrifice deep rest so that you can have it. It's love made tactical. Have you ever been on a walk with your dog when they suddenly stop? Their ears go forward. Their body goes rigid. They stare at something you can't see. Sometimes they refuse to move forward. Sometimes they pull you in a different direction. And you think they're being difficult, or they saw a squirrel, or they're just being weird. But your dog just detected something you cannot perceive. Dogs hear frequencies up to 60,000 hertz. Humans hear up to 20,000. Your dog is operating with a sensory system 4 times more sensitive than yours. They can hear a car approaching 3 blocks away. They can hear someone walking on the other side of a building. They can smell fear and aggression and illness from distances that would astonish you. When your dog stops and alerts, they're giving you an early warning. They're detecting a threat before it becomes visible to you. And they're making a decision about whether to proceed or redirect. Some dogs will pull you away from the threat. Some will position themselves between you and the direction of concern. Some will simply refuse to move until the threat passes. Behaviorists note that dogs who live in urban environments become incredibly sophisticated at threat assessment. They learn which sounds are normal and which sounds mean danger. They learn which people move with safe energy and which people move with intent that feels wrong. Your dog is running this analysis constantly while you walk beside them completely oblivious. They're protecting you from dangers you never even knew existed. Then there's the lean. That moment when you're standing somewhere, maybe at the park or outside a store or in a crowd, and your dog presses their full body weight against your legs. Most people think this is anxiety. They think their dog is scared and seeking comfort. And sometimes that's true. But watch when it happens. It's often in situations where there are multiple strangers nearby, where the environment is unpredictable, where your dog cannot control all the variables. They're not leaning on you because they're afraid. They're leaning on you because they're creating a physical communication system. When your dog presses against you, they can feel every micro movement you make. If you tense, they know. If you shift your weight to move in a particular direction, they know before you take the first step. This allows them to guide you, to subtly redirect you away from people or situations they've assessed as risky. It's also a blocking technique. By occupying the space against your legs, they're making it harder for anyone to approach you quickly. You think they're being needy. They think they're doing their job. And that job is keeping you safe in an unpredictable world. These first 5 behaviors are the ones most people eventually notice: the doorway blocking, the bathroom shadowing, the strategic sleeping, the sudden alerts, the protective lean. Once you start paying attention, you see them everywhere. But here's the thing. These are just the obvious ones. These are the behaviors your dog does that eventually catch your attention because they're consistent enough or inconvenient enough that you can't ignore them. But there are 5 more. 5 protection behaviors so subtle that most people never recognize them as protection at all. And those behaviors reveal something even deeper about the bond between you and the animal who chose to love you. Because your dog's protection doesn't stop at the visible. It operates at levels most humans never witness. And understanding those hidden layers changes everything about how you see the quiet guardian living in your home. Which of these 5 have you noticed in your own dog? Because once you start seeing them, you realize something profound. You've never walked through this world as alone as you thought you were. In the coastal city of Bergen, a border collie named Storm started doing something strange. Every evening, her owner would take the same walking route through their neighborhood, down the hill, past the old church, along the narrow path beside the creek. They'd walk that route for 2 years without incident. But 3 days in a row, Storm refused to take the path. She would plant her feet at the top of the hill and pull in the opposite direction. Her owner thought maybe she was tired or distracted or just being stubborn the way border collies sometimes are. On the 4th day, they tried again. Storm sat down and wouldn't budge, so they took a different route. That afternoon, the path beside the creek collapsed in a landslide. The narrow trail they walked every single evening was gone, buried under tons of earth and rock. Storm knew. Somehow, she knew. And she protected her person from a danger that hadn't even happened yet. This is where dog protection moves beyond the obvious and into something that feels almost supernatural. Your dog isn't just reacting to visible threats. They're reading patterns in the environment that your human brain doesn't have the wiring to perceive. And they're making decisions to keep you safe based on information you'll never have access to. These next 5 behaviors are so subtle that most people live their entire lives with dogs and never recognize them as protection. But once you see them, you can't unsee them, and you realize your dog has been running a sophisticated security operation that makes your home alarm system look primitive. Watch your dog's head when you're out together. Not when something obvious is happening. Watch them during the boring moments. When you're sitting on a bench checking your phone. When you're standing in line at a store. When you're walking through a parking lot. Your dog's head is constantly moving, scanning left, scanning right, checking behind. Their eyes are tracking movement in every direction. You're looking at your phone or your shopping list or the middle distance while your mind wanders. Your dog is maintaining 360-degree awareness of everything in your environment. This isn't anxiety. This isn't hypervigilance from trauma. This is pack security protocol. In wolf packs, while some members rest or eat or focus on a task, others scan. They monitor the perimeter. They track anything that moves. They maintain awareness so the pack stays safe. Your dog does this for you. You get to be distracted. You get to think about your problems or your plans or just zone out completely. Because your dog is doing the cognitive work of constant environmental monitoring, researchers studying working dogs found that protection-trained dogs spend up to 70% of their attention on environmental scanning, even when no threat is present. Your pet dog does a version of this naturally. They're checking for threats you don't see, monitoring for changes in pattern or energy that signal danger. You think they're just looking around. They're running an active security sweep. Every time you leave your house together, have you ever had your dog cut between you and another person? Maybe you're walking and someone approaches. Before you even register, they're there. Your dog has moved to intercept. They position their body between you and the approaching person or dog. It happens so fast, you barely notice. And it looks rude. It looks like your dog has bad manners or is being antisocial or doesn't like other people. But watch the pattern. Your dog doesn't intercept everyone. They're selective. They cut off specific people, specific dogs, ones that move a certain way, ones whose energy reads wrong, ones whose body language telegraphs something your conscious mind hasn't picked up on yet. Dogs are extraordinary at reading body language and intention. They process micro-expressions and movement patterns faster than humans can consciously track. When someone approaches with confidence and open body language, most dogs don't intercept. When someone approaches with aggression or predatory focus or unpredictable energy, your dog moves to cut them off. They're doing risk assessment in real time. They're making decisions about who gets close to you and who doesn't. And they're doing it before the threat materializes. This is preemptive protection, stopping conflicts before they start, maintaining safe distance between you and anything their instincts flag as dangerous. You think they're being poorly behaved. They think they're doing exactly what they're supposed to do, keep you safe, at any cost. Here's one that surprises most people. Your dog brings you toys when you're upset, when you're crying or anxious or sick or stressed. You think they want to play. You think they're trying to cheer you up in some sweet but simple way. But this behavior is more sophisticated than it looks. Your dog is offering distraction and comfort simultaneously. In canine social structures, when a pack member is distressed, others will offer objects or initiate low-intensity activities to shift emotional state. It's a coping mechanism, a way to redirect energy away from panic or pain and towards something manageable. When your dog brings you their toy during your worst moments, they're not asking you to throw it. They're giving you something to hold, something to focus on, something that represents normalcy and safety and play. They're trying to change your neurochemistry. And here's the remarkable part. It works. Research shows that holding or petting objects associated with positive experiences can lower cortisol and increase oxytocin. Your dog knows this instinctively. They're not trained in psychology. They're operating on ancient pack survival programming that says, when a member is compromised emotionally, you help them regulate. Because a pack member who stays in distress too long becomes vulnerable, becomes a liability. Your dog is trying to bring you back to baseline. Not because they're annoyed with your emotions, because they need you functional. They need you safe. And safety includes emotional stability. Notice what happens when you're sick, really sick, not just a minor cold, but actual illness or injury. Your dog becomes a shadow. They won't leave your side. They lie next to you. They follow you from room to room. They watch you with an intensity that can feel unsettling. People often say their dog gets clingy when they're ill, but this isn't clinginess. This is heightened protection protocol. Your dog has detected that you're compromised. They can smell the chemical changes in your body, the elevated cortisol, the inflammatory markers, the shift in your breath and body temperature. Dogs can detect cancer and seizures and blood sugar crashes through scent. When you're sick, your body is screaming information that your dog receives loud and clear, and the response is to increase security. They stay close so they can monitor you. They position themselves where they can respond quickly if you fall or need help. They're less interested in play, less interested in their normal routines, because you're vulnerable, and that takes priority over everything else. In the mountains of Norway, search and rescue dogs do this with injured hikers. They lie down next to them to provide warmth and comfort, but also to signal to other rescuers where the person is located. Your house dog operates on the same instinct. When you're hurt, they become your guardian, your early warning system, your connection to help if you need it. This behavior deepens with the strength of your bond. The longer you've been together, the more attuned they become to your baseline health, and the faster they respond when something changes. Here's the subtlest one. The one almost no one notices. Watch your dog during walks, not when something exciting is happening. Watch them during normal walking. Your dog looks back at you, constantly. Every few seconds, their head turns. They check your position. They check your pace. They make eye contact for a fraction of a second, then look forward again. You probably don't even register this happening because it's so quick and so constant. But your dog is running a pack cohesion check. They're making sure you're still there, still moving, still safe. This behavior comes directly from wolfpack travel patterns. When wolves move through territory, they maintain visual contact with pack members. No one gets too far ahead. No one falls too far behind. Because separated pack members are vulnerable pack members. Your dog is making sure the pack stays together, making sure you're not left exposed. If you stop, they stop. If you slow down, they adjust their pace. If you speed up, they match you. They're not just walking beside you, they're maintaining a security formation. Even in your quiet neighborhood, even on the most boring walk imaginable, your dog is treating every journey like it matters, because to them, keeping you safe always matters. There's no such thing as a casual walk where they get to turn off their protection instincts. Research in canine cognition shows that dogs who have strong bonds with their owners check back more frequently than dogs with weaker attachments. The behavior intensifies with trust and love. Your dog looks back at you dozens of times during a single walk because you matter to them. Because the thought of you being separated or vulnerable is intolerable. Because their entire evolutionary history has prepared them for one job above all others. Stay with your pack. Protect your pack. Make sure no one gets left behind. Back in Bergen, Storm's owner started paying attention after the landslide. They noticed all the small things Storm had been doing for years. The scanning, the interceptions, the backward glances, the refusal to leave their side when they had the flu last winter. All these behaviors they'd written off as quirks, or anxiety, or randomness. They were none of those things. Storm had been protecting them every single day, running calculations and making decisions and maintaining security protocols that kept her person safe from threats both visible and invisible. The family didn't ask for this protection. Storm gave it anyway, because that's what love looks like when it has 4 legs and a heart that refuses to stop caring. Your dog's protection isn't about dominance or control or trying to run your household. It's about love made tactical. Every annoying behavior, every moment of clinginess, every time they block your path or follow you or refuse to move or check behind them to make sure you're still there. They're saying the same thing in 100 different ways. I've got you. I'm watching. You're not alone. And they mean it with every fiber of their being. with every instinct coded into their DNA, over 15,000 years of choosing to love humans even when humans didn't always deserve it. Which of these protection behaviors have you noticed in your own dog? Because once you start seeing them, you realize something that changes everything. You've never walked through this world alone. There's been a guardian beside you all along. Quiet, constant, unwavering, and their devotion deserves to be seen. If you want to understand the quiet ways your dog loves you, follow for more truths about the guardian sleeping at your feet. Because your dog's protection isn't just behavior. It's a promise they make every single day, and that promise is worth recognizing.